Oh shit, here we go again.
I think it's safe to say that every time something like this happens, people get justifiably mad and say things online for a few days, and that's it. It doesn't stop this from happening, no one is held accountable for it, and it keeps happening again and again. As a person of South Asian descent, it is particularly irritating for me to see this happen all the time because it makes me feel like the people I admire don't respect me, and that the K-pop community is not a place for me or people of my ethnic background. For those who are unaware, on the 26th of June, aespa held a showcase in LA where they performed for their fans. During the showcase, the girls were doing the Jiggle Jiggle dance challenge. Towards the end of this, we see Giselle confuse a regular dance step with one of traditional Indian dance forms. She then proceeds to continue to do some hand gestures similar to the dances of Bharatanatyam and Kathak.
As in Jiggle Jiggle, it folds. The stage is yours.
네 분이 한번 같이 해볼까요?
Louis Theroux, Dugan Jones, Jiggle Jiggle. My money don't jiggle jiggle. You know, riding in my fear, you really have to see it. 6'2" in a compact, no stomach, I can let the seats go back and go back to the
Honestly, this is just pathetic and disgusting. The grim that she does after, like she's so proud of herself for coming up with that joke, just makes this worse. I'm an Indian woman. I was born and raised here, still live here. What she's doing is called a mudra. It's a posture of the hand made to accompany traditional Indian dances. I don't think there is anything wrong with people doing Indian dances as a way of learning about the Indian culture, or people incorporating steps from Indian dances into their choreographies. This is neither of that though. This is mockery. I don't care what her intentions were. Her actions are that of disrespect. And as an Indian person, this pisses me off so much because it happens all the time. It's not just about mimicking Indian dances, it's the fact that the person doing it thinks it's some sort of joke. You can see this because every time a K-pop idol does this, it's followed by the same snicker that you saw her do. Putting my anger aside for a minute, I can see that this probably comes from a place of ignorance rather than malice. We know that South Korea is a homogeneous society. Most people who live there are Korean. They don't interact with people of other racial groups. They don't consume media that has good representation of people of other racial groups. Plus, they don't even take the initiative to learn about it. This leads to lack of respectful treatment of people from other racial groups. Compare this with the West, where people do live in heterogeneous societies, where they do interact with people of other racial groups. There's more scope to have conversations about such topics. Even in India today, being a country very similar to Korea in its homogeneous nature, people still struggle to have conversations about race. And that plays into the fact that a lot of South Asian people won't see this as her doing something wrong. But it is. With Giselle in particular though, she has already been called out for being racist once. So you would expect her to have gone through some kind of PR training about cultural sensitivity to know better. The truth is that she was probably just told not to say the N-word and was left at that. That, I think, is the biggest problem that comes up here. The lack of training given to these K-pop idols. K-pop is expanding globally, and if you want to be a respectable global artist, it is expected for you to be respectable to other people, especially since you want their money. If you straight up just told us that K-pop is just for East Asians and white people, cool. But if you are going to extend to other communities, the least you can do is learn about how to be respectable towards them. Also, why is it always the SM girls? First you have Wendy, now Giselle. SM really needs to do a better job at training their idols in cultural sensitivity. From Giselle though, I don't think anything is going to happen other than there now being more OT3 stands than before. I don't think she'll apologize, and even if she does, it'll be very similar to the one that she did last time, in which she takes no responsibility for her actions and just apologizes at the surface level. I think keeping a 3-strike racism policy for idols is a good idea. So if she does this once more, that would be my cue to unstan aespa. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. This is the first time I'm using my actual voice in the video. I felt like for a topic like this, I needed to do that, because if I just say that I'm Indian, people always online are like, show me evidence, show me pictures. On Twitter, if you talk about stuff like this, people will first attack you for your nationality. So I thought if I use my voice and you could hear the Indian accent, you'd be more empathetic to the cause.
Anyway, I hope you liked the video. Okay, thanks. Bye.